everybody. Welcome to All Aboard the Championship. Got to keep the energy levels high now because that intro is banging. I'm starting to get into it, mate. I don't know about yourself.
Yeah, I'm loving it. I've kind of got the tune stuck in my head now, so I've been kind of humming them to myself about an hour leading up to this. So yeah, awesome.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, good to see you, mate. It seems like it's been a while anyway, but a lot's happened in the world of Sheffield United in particular, but there's a lot been happening all across the Championship recently. So that's what we're here to look at today. Looking at some of the results again. William Hill seems he's probably put another story on his house based on some of these results again. You cannot predict it in this division, and that's why we love it so much. We're actually quite an exciting show tonight, also because we've got the live Championship scores good to go and ready to announce as they fly in. I don't think it'll be quite as live as Jim White and co, but I can tell you now some of the early kickoff scores. We've got Charlton Athletic 0, Derby 1 on 18 minutes, Coventry 1, Millwall 0, Ipswich 1 up against Bristol at home there, Oxford 0, QPR 0, Preston North End 0, Hull City 0, Wednesday 0, Birmingham 0, but for how long? Swansea 0, Blackburn 0, West Brom 0, Norwich City 1, the rise of Norwich City, and then Disney FC 0, Leicester City 0. John Ham's brother only just kicked off there, the slightly later kickoff. So good luck to them in that one. No, joking, Wrexham fans, obviously. No, so we started off on Friday night, mate. A bit of a blockbuster down at the Hawthorns, by all accounts. Eric Ramsey, ex-Man United coach. Have you heard of him?
Because he's it came back to me. I sort of vaguely, I thought, where do I know that name from? And then I remembered Man United. Yeah, so but not the best start for him. Drama at the Hawthorns on a Friday night. Borough eventually taking all 3 points through Bergsorg very late in the game. A player linked with Bristol City recently. Hellberg says not for sale, thank you very much. West Brom thought they'd staged a great comeback, overhauling a 2-goal deficit after having a much stronger second half, it has to be said. But, bizarrely, West Brom get a free kick for, I don't know if you saw this, mate, a foul committed just inside the area. When you watch it back, given as a free kick, Price converts it anyway. Before Jed Wallace equalises on 80 minutes. But a bitter blow for Albion, important win for Borough to take them back up to second on the night, back-to-back wins. Do we think Borough and Ipswich are the two for second spot, Paul? What would you say at this stage?
Still think it's early, mate. I'm still with 20 games still on the list. There is a lot that can happen, and teams have got to time this run. So if you get yourself on a nice run, I spoke about Watford being on one recently. I know Ipswich have now climbed into the hot seat at the top of the league there. It's all about, can you string 3 or 4 or 5 results together at the right time of the season? It's all the way down to 17th, we hope. If you can get 3 or 4 or 5 wins in on the bounce, then all of a sudden you're back in the shout for a spot. I know that it does really depend on the form of the top 6, because if the top 6 keep winning, then everybody else is going to find it hard to catch. But that's just not this division this season. This division has thrown up odd results week in, week out. And like I said, Betfix is going on his holiday again because they are rolling in it, the bookmakers. Anyone who puts a bet on an ACCA this season, yeah, it's there's literally no way of telling what's going on. And that is my excuse for my terrible predictions as well on the on our other show, Football Therapy, that we do. So yeah, 3-2 for West Brom. Eric Ramsey, again, we'd argue unproven, wouldn't we? Going into quite a tough job there at West Brom, I'd say. Again, lots of expectations. We've questioned whether the squad is the top sort of squad that should be challenging the playoffs, but I know the owners and the fans will definitely think that that's where they should be. Price scored again for West Brom. Come from nowhere. I hadn't really heard of him before this season.
Yeah, same. I mean, he's caught the eye again with this one. And as I say, a really strange goal as well, because it looked like it should have been a penalty. But he dispatches the free kick superbly well. They're screaming for a pen. They're a little bit unhappy with the decision. They didn't care. About 3 or 4 seconds later, it's a fantastic finish. And with Ramsey coming in at West Brom, I mean, hopefully he can inject a little bit of that new manager bounce. Difficult job, like you say, high expectations, and probably a little bit like Sheffield United. not in a position at the moment where you can really put your finger on where they'll finish or whether they can make a late charge for the playoffs. Looks unlikely, certainly if they don't pick up at home at least.
Taylor's OG's own goal was a bit of a stinker, wasn't it, mate? Did you see it?
It was, and we've had a few things like that go against West Brom recently. Yeah, a little bit of a poor one from him, but they're going to have to put this in the rear view, aren't they? Because other big games coming up for them.
Indeed. And the leaders who have been stuttering and spluttering in recent times, Coventry City, nailed on for the title not long ago. Now it all looks a little bit more precarious, but they did themselves a few favours this weekend.
They did. I mean, a notable turnaround in this one by the league leaders, which heaps more pressure on Marti Cifuentes as well at Leicester. Jordan James on the score sheet again, though, a rare bright spark for Leicester this season. He's been terrific for them. Ellis Sims and Haji Wright both scoring for Coventry as they rotate their centre forwards mid-game. Nice option to have with those two, isn't it?
Well, it's a nice option, but Haji Wright, mate, if I was Sakamoto, I'd be having a little word in his ear all about his goal bonus. He literally steals that on the line, doesn't he? When the striker slides in and just touches it in, when it's clearly going in anyway. But anyway, that's all right. Jordan James is interested, isn't he? Is he too good for this level? Is he going to be a player that we might see in the Premier League next season?
I think we may well do. I mean, his age as well. You know, he's one of those with potentially a high ceiling. Good age. Yeah, bit of a high ceiling, and you know, fantastic goals that he scores as well. Often he's scoring goals from distance. He can hit one as well. So certainly someone that's catching the eye in the Championship.
Yes, indeed. And the ones that we thought, well, the ones that a few think might dethrone them as the champions this season, or I say dethrone, might knock them off their perch. Maybe is a better term. Ipswich Town with a comprehensive win at home to Blackburn. Cash-in, who we wouldn't have minded, would we? Or a lot of teams wouldn't have minded having Cash-in. Hasn't really worked for him his previous loan spell. He's gone to Blackburn and put another stinker in his own net for the bloopers reel, hasn't he?
He has, and it's funny, isn't it, how these things can spiral in your career. You can make one wrong move, seemingly what looked like a good move to Brighton, and you lose your form, you lose your way a little bit, and then suddenly you're out on loan and struggling. But routine for the Tractor Boys as they led this one 2-0 inside the first 15 minutes. As you say, a cash-in own goal. Jack Taylor on the score sheet as well. Sammy Smodics late on, who I'd almost forgotten about, completing the scoring to reclaim second spot for Ipswich. His first goal of the season, mate. I mean, they'll be hoping he can rediscover his best form for them. Blackburn flirting with the idea of relegation, I think, mate. I mean, I'm not saying they should be in the top 6 or anything like that. But I do feel like they should be doing a little bit better. Ishmael under pressure, do you think?
Difficult, really, because I don't think this is the game that he should be getting fired for, because they're going to this one massive second favourites for me anyway. Ipswich at home have been formidable this season. I think that Blackburn are a club that they've obviously got some talent at the top of the pitch. There's probably in my opinion going to be enough for this year, but they've got to start. They've got to stop like selling all the best players, haven't they? Because sooner or later it comes back and bites you. So yeah, Blackburn, interesting. I'm sure the fans who, like we say, nearly snuck into the playoffs at the end of last season when they were quite unfancied. I don't know if getting rid of Ishmael would be a good idea for him. I still think he's a decent manager at this level. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with them. I'm sure they'll have ideas about it. If they were going to do it, I wouldn't be waiting until the back end of the January window to do it, would you? So I think he might be safe, certainly till the summer, pending what happens, obviously. We then go on to Watford, who have been in relatively quite sparkling form, really, in the past month or so, and certainly the Christmas period. Coming unstuck against a promotion rival in Millwall.
Yeah, and like you say, they've been in sparkling form in the league. They were stopped in a big way in the FA Cup by Bristol City, which was maybe a little bit of a sign of things to come. Now turned over at home in this one. Aziz and Coburn on the score sheet for Millwall, 2 players I really like, mate. They've caught my eye. Well, certainly Aziz this season and Coburn previously. I think the Watford keeper, Selvik, has to do better on both goals, certainly with the first. He could come out a bit quicker on the second one as well, I think. But Millwall...
You're a tough taskmaster. I thought it was a nicely crafted move. I thought it was quite well finished.
It was a good finish.
I don't know if you're being a bit tight on him there, Lou. I don't know, mate. Maybe your standards are too high, but no, I don't know. I think it was a great win for Millwall. Obviously, away from home, going to a team that they'll be looking at, thinking, well, it's us, and if someone's going to drop out, we don't want it to be us. And fair play to Millwall, because they've got more of a reputation for being a strong home side, haven't they, rather than picking up lots of results away from home. But fair play to them.
Yeah, they usually make that place a fortress, but winning away from home here, trucking along nicely, trending that top 6 finish. What do you think about Watford, though, Paul? Do you think their bubble could be bursting a little bit? Loser didn't have his best game for them, obviously an influential player. Whispers of interest from Everton and Brighton. Maybe his head being turned, possibly?
Sorry, Watford fans, but if the money hits the table, you'll probably be saying goodbye. I'd say. I think if a club like Brighton or Everton come knocking, I think it would be really, really difficult. He is the outstanding player in that team. He is, for me, he's one of the best creative players in the division, if not the best. Certainly this season. So yeah, I think he's the type of player that would be attracting interest. And like you said, I don't know whether that would be a morale thing for Watford. It would be a major, major blow to their chances of getting themselves into the playoffs, in my opinion. But we can only wait and see. There's a lot of things that have to go right for a transfer, Lou. There's a chairman on both sides. There's an agent. There's a player. There's a lot of things, a lot of hoops to jump through before these things happen. But my money would be on it if the right offer was to hit the table. We don't know how much they value him at. I mean, for all we know, they might be sticking some silly price tag on him that prices him out of the move anyway. So we'll have to wait and see. But yes, certainly would be a blow. Then we go down to the Valley to see Sheffield United take on Charlton. A first half where you've got to think that Sheffield United have got to score in that first half an hour. Was one-way traffic, a couple of good chances missed, certainly by Pat Bamford, who's been knocking them in recently, and Tom Cannon, who I'd have expected to potentially score his chance as well. So there was opportunities there for Sheffield United. 2 sendings off in the first half really kills the game a little bit for Sheffield United, who probably had a game plan in the second half coming out with 9 men. And then it all ended very, very quickly. The timing of the goal very much suiting Charlton and very much not suiting Sheffield United at that point.
Yeah, I mean, a game ultimately, in whatever way, shape, or form you think, defined by the referee. And listen, we're at pain to be impartial on here. And as a Blade, there's certainly no ill feeling from me towards Charlton. I'll say that. I'm fair. The first red on Samare is a red all day long. It's clumsy. It's late. He's stamping down. I don't think anyone of a Sheffield United persuasion could have any complaints.
My only complaint is, Lou, that I have seen that type of challenge a few times in the last couple of weeks. And we might even get our resident ref, Gaz Dunn, to come in and talk to us about this one. I have seen a couple of them go just with a yellow or nothing at all even. I'm just struggling to name them in the Premier League in the last couple of weeks, where I have seen these types of challenges go. It's not unnoticed because they have VAR, obviously, but I don't know. I agree, it was a red card. The second one, yeah, I'll let you talk about it, mate. I'll talk about it with Gaz when he gets himself on in a bit.
Yeah, I think the second rate's really harsh, but as you say, we'll save some words. We'll save some words for our chat with Gaz, I think.
So on the back of this one, are Charlton going to survive? Are the Blades going to make a last gasp? Every fan thinking it's still possible with, I think it's 11 points at the moment. If you can get yourself on a run, like I said, the Blades form is in the top. Is it top 2? I think it's second in the league in terms of the last 10 games. So I think that they are still in with a shout. Do you believe that or not?
It's not impossible. My feeling at this stage, mate, is that we haven't got much room for error at this point. We're still a good way away. It's always been, as a fan, it becomes a conversation when we get a lot closer, within 3 or 4 points with some games to play. I think we've got a lot of work to do. Sheffield United have a lot of work to do. As for Charlton, I think they've got to be careful. They've got to look over the shoulder. Norwich are on the resurgence. Portsmouth are fighting. They're not giving up either. They're holding that fight off. So, Charlton have just got to be a little bit careful. I think they're still in trouble, but they need more results like they got on Saturday just to edge away if they can.
Yeah. Good stuff, mate. Right, so we'll move on to and move very swiftly on and very swiftly away from Oxford and Bristol. Matt Bloomfield taking over as the manager at Oxford, the former Luton man, getting in charge there. Whoa, it's a tough job down at Oxford. I'd say that I still think they've got some good players. I think we've highlighted a few of their better guys, but with Vitek for Bristol, the goalkeeper. Very impressive for Bristol, from what I saw.
Yeah, he's been terrific this season, and it was a position that I've got relatives that are Bristol City supporters, live in that part of the world. It was a position that they really felt they needed to address in the summer. They weren't entirely happy with Max O'Leary. I don't think they trusted him completely, but they've given me rave reviews about Vitek, and he's put in some impressive performances this season. Plenty of chances in this game, albeit finished 0-0, but Matt Bloomfield getting a point in his first game in charge. Bristol City now 8th, mate, 3 points off the playoffs. Oxford 23rd, 5 points from safety. It's a tough job. Like you say, it's a tough job, isn't it? I mean, for me, they've got it all to do. But it shows, I think, that the division is, I think, a bit more competitive across the board than it was last year. Some good players in those teams down there. You look at Oxford, they've got some talent in the team. Still find themselves second bottom.
Yeah, I think you're right, mate. I think when we got to the stage last year, the top 5 was taking shape. There was obviously 3 teams at the top of the division who barely lost a game. And because of the nature of the league this year, there's been a lot of surprise results. I think for the first time ever, the teams, maybe not Sheffield Wednesday, but a lot of the teams in the division can beat each other. If you are playing third bottom and you are 4th in the league, it isn't a given. It isn't a gimme. There's no open goals in this league, and I think that that's the difference this year. I think it's all a lot tighter than it was in terms of the standard, and that's why you can chuck a blanket over 10 teams in the middle of the division, because on any given Sunday, every single week, you can win or lose a game. And it makes for exciting things. Again, if you're a betting man, I just keep your money in your pocket. But it's certainly an entertaining watch usually, other than these 0-0ers. Get rid of them. So Preston at home to Derby. Preston having an outstanding season, obviously. Derby, I think they've got some good players in that Derby side, and when they show up, they can score goals. And in this case, a young man that I'm quite impressed with in Adjumang. I know they paid the top dollar for him, but he looks a bit of a weapon at this level, doesn't he?
He does. I put that in my notes for the show as well. A player that continues to impress me, settling in to things. 82nd minute on the end of a Brereton Diaz cross in this one. It's really stepped up in the absence of Carlton Morris, who picked up an injury not long ago, and we thought that would be a hammer blow for them. Classic championship fixture, this. Preston versus Derby is always one that I think of when I think of the championship. Lots of meetings down the years. Impressive result for Derby going away this. They were good value for it. I mean, more attempts at goal and a higher XG than Preston in this one. Only their second win in the last 10 games, though. What surprised me a bit, though, mate, is that Preston's third win in the last 10 games. Does their league position speak to the openness of the division? I know you just talked about how you could throw a blanket over 10 teams. I think that's very much the case for the teams in that playoff race, because that really surprised me when I look at it. I didn't realise that Preston weren't actually in sparkling form, but they're still in there.
They're still in there because, like you say, no one's really taken the ball by the horns, are they? Watford looked like they were going to do it for a while. They looked like the team coming out of the middle that were going to go in there. Wrexham were doing the same thing. They were kind of threatening, weren't they, to sort of mount that playoff push. But it's about stringing results together. Now, Preston have done that earlier on in the season and have started to falter more recently. And it sort of opens the door, doesn't it? Because if they're not acquiring many points, it allows certain teams to climb up the table behind them if they can get put some results together. We're just waiting for a couple of sides to go, right, this is our season, guys. This is what we're doing, because there is that many that could end up in that playoff. You still couldn't predict that top six for me right now. It is so tricky. You might think 3 teams are in there in Ipswich, Coventry, and Middlesbrough. People feel like they're the 3 that are fairly nailed on. The other 3, mate, it could all change between now and the end of the season, and who says it won't? So yeah, it does make it quite exciting, and we'll have to wait and see what's going on with that. But Derby, again, they've got a few, like I say, top decent players at the level up at the top of the pitch. Ryan Brewster came on. Carlton Morris is obviously a top striker at this level as well. And Adjiman continues to impress. I think he's going to be one that some teams might be looking at in the summer if he continues with his good form. Off to Hillsborough now. Now, this result at the start of the game, it was 19 without a victory for Sheffield Wednesday. It ticks on to 20th. Portsmouth, big result for them, really, because 1-0 victory over there. It's become a fixture that if you don't go and beat them, then it can be quite detrimental. I know Sheffield Wednesday have shown a bit of character recently in getting a couple of draws. Teams like Portsmouth in particular will be delighted to get out of there with 3 points, won't they?
They will. And Adrian Segacic settling this one with his 5th goal of the season. He was a bright spark for Pompey, and this stood out a little bit for them. As you say, vital 3 points for Portsmouth as they avoid dropping into the bottom 3 with this win as well, by the fact that obviously Norwich won as well. Like you say, just happy to get out with the 3 points that everyone would hope and expect they would get. On Sheffield Wednesday, mate, talk of Barry Bannon to Millwall or Preston, or possibly even a move north of the border. If he goes, they may as well field the academy, hadn't they?
Well, again, they might want to do that just to see who's ready for next season. But in the same breath, you don't want to knock all the confidence out of them as football players at this stage. If they are going to be blooded next year and they're going to be part of the plan, there's a tendency to think that you can see if they're going float, so drop them in the pool and see what happens. But actually, what they don't want to do is enter the division with a massive hangover of players that haven't won a game for 30 matches when they get there. And in this case, it could even be nearly 40 matches, because at the minute, it is looking bleak. There is a couple of bright spots in there for him who have done well in recent games. But like you say, they've got to be looking to next year and thinking about what's going to happen. If Barry Bannon said he's not going to drop down a division next season, is it really worth their outlay? I'm sure he'll be the top paid player, or I know they've got a cap on it and stuff like that, but he wants to carry on his career at this level. He's not going to be there next season, is he? Either way, so this season for them is unfortunately it's already over, isn't it?
It is, and probably a player. Let's be honest, even as Sheffield United fans, we would say probably deserves to play at this level. Has proved himself a good captain for them and a decent player at the level. So no surprise to me that there's interest, and I think 2 clubs that he'd probably be quite keen to join at this stage with their aspirations.
Yeah, indeed. On to Southampton. Well, Tonda Eckhart, is he on borrowed time, mate? Is it nearly time for him? A 1-2 defeat at home to Hull City. The form has dropped off a cliff. Got the job on the basis that he went on a nice run, didn't he? Is the writing already looking like it's going to be on the wall for him?
It feels like it, with the level of expectation there and the squad that they have. I mean, what has happened since he got the job full time? I will say I did a little bit of digging into the data with Saints yesterday, as you may have heard on another stream. They're still creating plenty. They rank highly for possession, accurate passing. In some of the performance metrics, they're doing great. We know that this doesn't always equate to wins, but they are creating chances still. That's something that I can see. Defensive mistakes costing them again here. Kyle Joseph profiting from a horrible back pass, and the goalie gets into a right angle. Easy header for Charlie Hughes for the second. Stewart pulls one back, but no wins in the last 7 games for Southampton. Another away win for Hull. Speaking of Hull, they just seem to be the one, or certainly with Millwall and Preston, they kind of stay in there. They're hovering around in there. They've got a number 9. Hull, I feel, maybe could be the one from that pack in behind the top 3 that might just hang on in there. It's a terrific win for them, this. But going back to your first question, Southampton, I think they may be looking at Tonda Eckert's position soon. It's a very poor run. And, I mean, that squad's loaded, isn't it? You look at it and you think it's got promotion written all over it, but not the case at the moment.
No, and Hull's a funny one, mate, because again, on any given weekend, I could see them chucking one in and losing. So it's just and if they can be the most consistent out of everybody, out of that pack of maybe 10 or 12 teams that are in contention, and fair play to them. And if they manage to do it, they've got experience at the top of the pitch. They can score goals. They're a decent watch. They're a good team to watch, actually, Hull, when you watch their games. So yeah, I think that if they get there, they'll be there on merit, won't they? So we'll have to wait and see. There's a lot of football still to play and a lot of points still to go for, mate. That's all I'm going to say. Stoke and QPR played out a 0-0 draw.
Yeah, lots of missed opportunities in this game, actually. The 0-0 would suggest it was a board draw. There were some chances. Stoke right back, Talaverov, I think you pronounce his name, very difficult name to pronounce, appears to have a handful of... yeah.
Talaverov, mate.
He appears to have a handful of Richard Kone's shirt in the box as the ball comes in. Incredible to me, no penalty given, looked like a stone waller. Stoke now just outside the playoffs in 7th, Paul, QPR 11th. What are we saying on these two? I was going to say not quite consistent enough for the playoffs, maybe, but is anyone consistent enough for the playoffs? They could still make a late run, couldn't they? It's like anything else. You just got to get on that run, as you say.
Yeah, some exciting wide forwards in these two sides, isn't there? Silva Thomas has been brilliant this year in patches. Dembele for QPR and Share or Shair, as we were told, we should be pronouncing it. They've got quality that will win them games, and again, it'll be down to, can they string it together? Can they get those results back to back? Because that's the key to getting into the playoffs in this division. Neither have done it consistently, but then again, who has other than Cov and now a bit more Ipswich? So we'll have to wait and see. On to Wrexham, the Norwich recovery. The teams down at the bottom, are they resigned to it? I've thought about this myself when I was watching the highlights. Have you ever lived in a time when Wrexham were hot favourites to turn over Norwich? Because it must be a little bit of a come down for Norwich City, who've obviously, I remember when they had Jeremy Goss against Bayern Munich in the Champions League and stuff like that, and now we're talking about Wrexham, who were they've had the giant killings in their day, haven't they, with Arsenal and other teams, but they've to think that they go into this favourites was odd, but then it didn't work out the way they did. Smith for Wrexham looking like a player to me, but it wasn't enough, and Norwich have plundered their way into a 2-1 victory here. Kenny McLean, I have to say, rolling back the years, his setup for Makama, the way he picks the ball up and does his little bit flicks and tricks, and then 1-2, 1-2, and off he goes again. I just thought that was class from him.
It was a terrific ball to him, wasn't it? And did a little bit of I had a bit of a look at Sam Smith and at Makama, actually, when preparing for this. Important win for Norwich, given Pompey's win at Hillsborough. Secured by Slimani, a player we know, and Makama, as we said. Sam Smith, I agree. Yeah, really catching the eye. On the score sheet again, but he's not the only one, Paul, if you get the reference. Makama's finish. Makama's finish to win it is cool.
Wrexham fans will be singing "Stay with Me" for sure. That's for sure. That is Sam Smith, isn't it? I'm just plucking him out of the sky now. Sorry. No, but he's I think he's a weapon. I think he's someone that they should be keeping hold of, because he's been really impressive, hasn't he, last 5 or 6 weeks.
He's been terrific, as has Yvonne Makama as well. 10th goal in the Championship this season. I had a look at some of the data on him as well. I'm not going to start bomb anyone overly, but 94 percentile for shots on target per 90, the same for touches in the opposition box per 90, and 95 percentile for aerial duels 1 per 90. He's some pickup for 1.2 million, isn't he, mate? I mean, he looks a proper handful for centre half.
Yeah, he feels like someone who might be able to have if he has a good year next year, might be able to step on a level. I've been quietly impressed with his composure and how he goes about it, and scores all types of goals as well, doesn't he? And that's, I think he's they've landed on their feet with their forwards this year. So yeah, fair play to him. And Norwich, I think, will get away from it all. I think they'll end up 14th, 15th, something like that. And be well clear by them. Although Josh Sargent's not doing himself any favours, we might talk about that another time. On to Swansea and Birmingham. Sonic's nemesis strikes again. Dr. Vipotnik, he's on fire, mate. I tell you what, there's not many sides in this division who won't take him, is there?
No, I completely agree. And getting his name on the score sheet again with a classic number 9 finish for me as well. Franco does really well nicking the ball back and then laying it onto him as well. Nice bit of play from him. Patrick Roberts levelling midway through the second half to take a point away. Something that the Blues have found difficult to do at times this season. We know that they've had their struggles away from home, so this will be a really valuable and precious result for them. Felt like Swansea deserved better in this game. Decent performance from them, I thought. Birmingham only had the one shot on target. But as I say, a rare point away from home for them. And that feels like a step forward, doesn't it? When you get that first draw away from home, that can lead to other results. You just need to nick one, don't you?
Well, it's just been dismal, hasn't it, for Birmingham? I've never, it always used to make me wonder why teams were so sometimes just unbeatable at home and couldn't play for toffee away. I do not get it with Birmingham. I just don't understand it anymore. All the pitches are the same. It's all like, I don't know. I guess that it's one of those football things that happens. And then there's other teams that are better away from home than they are at home. So yeah, it's a strange old how do you do. But no, Swansea. Good point for them, really. Although Birmingham's away form is poor, they are a decent side and can be hard to break down and beat. So it's a fair play to them, and yeah, they'll do well to keep Vipotnik, I think, in the summer. I think there might be some bigger fish coming to give him have our money. Here you go, you will have him because I think he's a good player. So yeah, very good. Right, mate. What I'm going to do. Really quick, I'm going to get Dunny on first, then we're going to have a quick look at these half times. Okay, couple of bits we want to talk to Dunny about. Welcome, Gaz Dunn, our resident ref. How you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, lads. How are you?
Yeah, it's a little technical wizardry there, Gaz. Well done, mate. Yes, we're good, pal. Now, a few bones to fit with you, mate. That's for sure.
It's not me.
I know it's not you. But we like to shoot the messenger, and unfortunately, that's you. So Blackburn, talk to me about the incident at Blackburn and penalty, not a penalty. Oh, it didn't look great, did it?
No, it didn't, to be honest with you. But referee's spot on, and I will back the referee on this one. So, first of all, the shove. Everyone's going, "Oh, it's a penalty. It's a penalty." If we had VAR, they'd look at it. VAR won't look at it because it's never a penalty. So it's actually the shove is outside the area. Yeah, it's a foul. It can be given as a foul, 100%. But then he's pushed him, and he falls into the area. The next one that somebody came back to me at and said was, "Well, hang about. The ball's coming across. He's got a chance to get on the end of it. Surely that's dogso, denying an obvious goal scoring opportunity." And then obviously you look at the boxes then that you got to take. Is he in control of the ball? Never in control of the ball at any point. Is there any defenders? Actually, that one's ticked. There's no defenders at all in the way. Distance is there for me as well, and his direction's there. But as soon as you're not in control of that ball or likely to gain control of that ball, it's not a red card. Therefore, it's not a dogso for me.
Mate, it sounds like a load of old dogso to me. That is an acronym I'm going to be stealing, mate. Dogso, denying an obvious goal scoring opportunity, mate. That is it now. Yeah. Chatting a load of dogso tonight, mate. Yeah. So Sheffield United, Lots of Blade fans had a lot of umbrage with this referee. Now, I know, there's one other one that I am going to bring up that I'm going to totally left field you with. So I hope that you know something about it. Just look at his face; he's not happy. I've got to talk to you about it because I think most United fans are. I know that the lads in the ground couldn't really see it very well, but I don't think there's too many complaining about Samari's red card. I think when you see the replay. It looks innocuous from a distance, but fair play to the ref. He did pick up on that, and it was a stamp on his ankle with a studs down. Whenever you're stamping down, it never looks great, does it? So I don't think anyone's worried about that one. The Tanganga one, while Wilder came out and had a right go in the presser afterwards about a little bit of a vendetta potentially by the ref towards Tanganga for a little bit of mouthing off after the first sending off, and he was very, very quick to pull that red, wasn't he? He didn't really think about asking anybody else. He was pretty adamant that Tanganga has, if he's put his elbow to his head at that speed and that pace, he'd knock his head off, wouldn't he?
So when you look at this one, I don't know what he's seen. He is very quick. The referee gets this card out really quick, so he is adamant. What he's seen is what he's seen. He's adamant because a referee doesn't get a card out that quick unless, there's two things. One, he's 100%. He's the referee. I'm taking control of this situation. Or two, to defuse a situation. If you've got a chance for a mask con, you'll get either a yellow or a red card out quickly. You might not show it, but it'll be in your hand so everyone knows what's coming. And sometimes that can defuse the situation. He leans for his arm. He does. He does spin himself round as well, so there is contact. He does I don't think there's any doubt that he contacts with the back of his head with his arm. However, for me, I would give a yellow card. But I've said this to a few people now. I don't know what the referee's seen. Has he seen him with a clenched fist? And as soon as you go clenched fist, you know he's trying to put some power behind it. Has he seen that? So there's loads of content, and the picture's not very good. I was watching Dermot Gallagher and I forgot the guy's name, Jay Boothroyd, I think it is, that does it with him on Ref Watch. And Jay Boothroyd actually said, he's been confident of this. He's seen it. We can't see it fully from the video. And it's very much, he says, he's definitely contact because he spins round. Tanganga spins round. I think it splits a room, in my opinion. I think some referees would say red. And I think some would say yellow card.
Do you think, right? Okay, so we're sat here a few days later, right? And we're sat here discussing we don't know what the referee's seen or what the referee's thinking. And there are obviously examples that we can take from other sports. We do now do it in the Prem when there's like an overturned decision or when they've been to the screen. Do you not think that red cards are that detrimental to a team in a game and change the game so much in football? Not the same as rugby where they go off for a bit and they come back on. Same with a red. That's 20 minutes now, isn't it, in rugby, rather than a complete you're off the field. Do you not think it's worth the referees having a consultation with the other eyes on the side of the pitch to do that? And then is there room for, if you're changing a decision, you've got a headset and you're speaking into telling the crowd what's going on. We're sat here days later. Referees obviously had a chance to put in a report and say his side of the story. We ain't got a Scooby-Doo what that is, and it doesn't get published, does it?
No, it doesn't. So after the match, you'll have a referee in the stand. There'll be a referee in the stand. I think they've still got a referee in the stand at Championship. I could be wrong. But they've got a referee in the stand. Afterwards, he will go in and he'll get a debrief from the observer. There'll be an observer there watching the game. And from that, the referee will say, the observer will say, I agree, don't agree, potentially. Or he'll turn back, I need to look at the footage. And he'll go back and look at the footage. And then from there, that report gets given to him, the referee, operating managers, all the appointments, directors at PGMO. That doesn't get released, and I don't think that ever will get released, as in marking and things like that. I don't think it'll get released. There is Ref Watch, and not Ref Watch. There's Behind the Mic that Howard does with Michael Owen or somebody else.
Yeah.
So that shows you the inside where you can hear the comms and everything like that. I think when you're talking about comms, could an AR and the fourth come in on that? Potentially, but me as an AR, if he's given that red card, unless I am
assistant ref.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So as an assistant referee,
he's got his acronyms out tonight. He's come to
I'm doing well tonight, aren't I?
Yeah, get your doxo out. That'll do you.
I'm not, unless he's wrong in law, I'm not coming over the top of him. I wouldn't go over the top of him. He's got to be wrong in law, because anything, it's about interpretation, and it's about
but Dunny. Yeah, I know, but you've said it yourself. You're a ref. You know the drill. You think it's a yellow. We're sat here speculating on what the ref might have seen.
Yeah.
There is no information given to the punters about what his reasoning was. He might say, it was violent conduct. He might say it was he led with his elbow. He might say he had a clenched fist, like you alluded to. We don't really know, because it's happened so quick, and we only get the replays we get. And it's like, I think there's got to be a little. I'm not saying accountability on the ref's part, but I'm saying that
just an explanation.
Surely that should be communicated to the supporters and the punters who pay the money.
So explanation now happens on the Premier League. You'll see it, and we'll come on to that in the next show when they're talking about the Doku one. They came out very quickly and explained why it was not given a red card, for example. So it does happen in the Premier League. I think eventually when VAR comes in at the Championship and there's more cameras, etc., I think that might start to come out as well, potentially.
Okay.
So I think then the punter might get more information.
So you're saying I'm right, Donny. I appreciate that, mate. So that's good. I will ask you just one question. Did you watch the final of the AFCON?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Yes, I did. Do you feel sorry for the referee in terms of what happened on that evening? Yep. I know that when there's emotions run high in these things, when you had a goal disallowed and then you get a penalty against you the other side, and it's but you do feel for the ref, and you think the ref got that right, do you?
As in how he dealt with the situation?
First of all, the decisions, that's the first thing. And then a little lick of the lips.
I don't know if I've seen the full clip.
I know you play poker, Gaz, but that was a telling little lick of the lips, that one. I know that.
Yeah, so I'm trying to
don't agree with the whole shooting match.
There's a shove in the back, isn't there? It's a penalty, a shove in the back, isn't it?
It's a high arm, really, around his neck from behind him. And for me, it's soft. But my interpretation of penalties decisions is often that they're soft, because I think there should be more physicality and contact. I'm that way inclined. I think the referee possibly has some reason to say, look, his arm's high, it's up around him. Again, there are check boxes he could tick if that went to, say, a panel like the Tanganga one did, if it was appealed. As for the situation afterwards, I don't know what you think, gents. I've never seen anything like it. All the time, remarkable.
Yeah, the referee can't do anything either. From what I've heard, is Mane has actually helped the referee get the team back on the field of play.
Yeah,
from what I've heard, I haven't seen. I'm literally pulling Sky Sports up here to try and look at the penalty decision now, because you've absolutely stumped me. Because I can't
really on your toes, mate. You can't have it all the I's dotted and all the T's crossed before you get on, mate. That's never I think in the Rambo way, is it?
I think the problem for me, gents, with it was that Diaz was very clearly, in terms of how he fell back looking for it as well. I felt that he went down very easily. He felt that contact again around his shoulder, neck, and he fell backwards. So the action, to me, if I'm watching it back, I'm thinking, well, he's looking for that. He's taken a dive. But again, there are check boxes there for the referee. It's very difficult, and it's why all these things are so subjective, so difficult for the ref.
And that's the difference between, like you mentioned about rugby and football. A lot of the rugby decisions, when it comes to video referees, the referee is all factual. Is it a knock on? Is the ball touch the ground? And that's why, because everyone compares it, that's why it's so different, because it's more factual decisions in rugby than it is in football.
Yeah.
Indeed. Right, gents. Let's have a little look at the championship scores, because I'm hoping we get a live table. So I'm just going to pull these up on the screen for us. just for everybody to have a little look at. So it's Charlton 0 at half-time, Derby 1, Coventry 1, Millwall 1. Millwall back in business there, still going well. Ipswich 1, Bristol 0, Oxford 0, QPR 0, Preston 0, Hull City 2. Lou, back in your theory. Wednesday 0, Birmingham 0, Swansea 1, Blackburn 1. Big game that down the bottom. West Brom 0, Norwich City 1. Norwich still on the climb, and we're just approaching half-time in the Wrexham Leicester game, and it's still 0-0. Well, said the Rocking Horse. That is interesting, isn't it, guys?
Yeah, some interesting scorelines there. I mean, Ipswich again going along well. Millwall 1-1 at Coventry. And they were a goal down. Roman Esse put Coventry in front by the looks of it. Millwall aren't going away. They're in there fighting, as you say, though. Hull, just at the minute, look like they might stage a real campaign for that playoff spot. There's some interesting scores there.
And it does make a few changes to the table as well, which I'll get on and have a look at in a second. Right? Do you want to take us through a few of the comments then, please, Lou, while I have a little fiddle around with this?
I can indeed, mate. We've got Dave Morwood up first. Evening, guys. I'm back to watch this great show. Please like and subscribe. Don't forget to hype up all the rambles, up the blades, up the positive 6. Thank you very much, Dave. Much appreciated. Ian tells us, good evening, chaps. Great content this. Thank you very much, mate. Don't really follow the non-Blades games, so it's good to catch up on what the others are doing. Like and subscribe. It costs nothing. Certainly the case, and thanks for that, Ian. If we can help you to catch up with the rest of the championship, we'll be very pleased, mate. So keep coming along. Jimmy's on here as well. Yes, lads, watching from the bath. Oh, someone's enjoying himself. He's relaxing while we're hard at work on Ramble FC. You enjoy it, mate. And Gaz as well in with the comments. Nothing like a relaxing bath. There certainly isn't, mate. Ian, too much information. Jimmy, yeah, I agree, mate. Far too much. What we got here as well, Gaz. Wide open for me this year. Yeah, I agree with you, Gaz. Anyone in the top 8 or 9 can get first or second. Playoffs all the way down to the Blades. Yeah, I think so, mate. I mean, despite my kind of slightly less positive view of our playoff chances, it's not gone by any means. And as we were discussing earlier before you came on, just wide open in terms of everyone can beat everyone else, and no one seems to really have put their stamp on it yet, other than maybe that top 3. Got Carl Wright in the comments as well. Evening, lads. Even if this season comes to nothing, I'm excited for the summer. Got a really good core to build around. Cooper, Tanganga, Blaster, Reader, Pat and Cannon. I can see Gus and Peck leaving. I can see Gus leaving, Kyle. I know there's been a little bit of lukewarm speculation about Peck and whether, he's attracting interest and might be another one to leave in the summer. I hope not, and I don't necessarily think so. What do you lads think on Sidney Peck? Do you think he'll be here next season? Do you think there might be some serious interest in the summer?
It'll be down to it's down to what are the other offers, because we know that he's joined. He's not on a long and a big contract, should we say, in terms of he's not quite getting his value because he's still classed as an emerging player in the squad. I think the next one needs to be the type of contract that says, you're a fully fledged pro, we're paying you as a championship footballer and a midfielder within it. I think from his point of view, especially as he has that kudos of going to England as well. It will also depend on obviously what the other offers are around the country. If he is fancied by somebody else, again, it might be good business for Blades to cash in. But again, the season and a half that he's had, he has proven and stepped on massively in terms of his level. And can he go even further? Can he get even better? Well, he started to score some goals, didn't he, recently before he got injured, and we were seeing a player that we thought, hang on a minute, have we got the next Michael Brown on our hands? And so there's something to say for him there, and I think he's still got a lot to improve on. But certainly the last year and a half would say he's going to be a good pro, maybe even a top pro.
Yeah, I think so. And I don't know what you think as well, Gaz, but before you come in there, Ian just wants to thank you for your insight as well, your refereeing insight, certainly. But what do you think on Sidney Peck?
I'd like to think, as long as a massive offer comes in the summer, I think we keep him for now. But if that offer does come in and we turn that offer down, any offer down, to be honest with you, in the summer. I think that's when you then need to sit down with his agent and get him tied down. I think he stays for another season minimum for me.
I'd like us to be a bit proactive with it and get that sorted, because I think he's earned it personally. But we will wait and see. So what I'm going to do now, ladies and gents, is we're just going to look at this live table with how tonight's results currently affect this league. Coventry 6 points clear at the top. Ipswich with a game in hand, so there's still scope for them to get clawed in there. If you're looking at the form here, guys, what we're thinking. So we've got Watford, who lost the last game, didn't they? And Wrexham, very similar form on that one. They are closing in. Millwall creating a bit of a buffer for themselves on tonight's evidence, and going up alongside Hull, 47 points. They are slightly stretching that a little bit, and teams are going to have to work exceptionally hard to track them down. What do we think, boys? Is that for you the 6, or can you still see some changes?
I can still see 1 or 2 changes. As I say, I've got a good feeling about Hull. I think Millwall, playing well at the moment. They're playing some decent stuff. They're typically dogged as well, as they always are. Another one that I think could be in the mix at the end. Preston were looking really good at one point. Just an adverse result on the weekend, and then a few just in behind those 2 wins there. It all depends on whether someone in that pack just behind can make a run for it. Derby might be an interesting one. Guys, I know that they've looked like a very mid-table-ish side this season, but you said it yourself, Paul, earlier. They've got some good players at the top of the pitch. You can get Morris back at some point as well. They could be a real handful for teams and might be one to push on late in the season.
Yeah, I think so. But again, I think you can make a case for most of them. If we scroll down a little bit further and we look at this middle band from Stoke down all the way to Sheffield United there, not 1,000 miles away. I think we're holding a bit of a torch for Sheffield United at the minute. But the thing is, with United, they do win games. Obviously, they do lose them as well. But the lack of draws, it can play into their hands a little bit in terms of they can make quick progress with not having those draws. Draws sort of, they're okay, aren't they? But they're only 1 point, and Sheffield United have won more games than most of certainly the teams directly above them. So it'll be intriguing to see if we can do that. We'll talk about Leicester's disastrous season. They're still. I know they're 2 games in hand on United, but they're still 6 points ahead. So, I think the method will be if they keep playing well and they can string some results, the show's not over. Certainly with this amount of games to go.
Yeah, certainly. And I don't know, Gaz, is there anyone else from that middle order there that you think might be able to make a late push?
Yeah, well, playoffs. I think if you scroll down a bit further, Paul, I don't think Charlton have to see them play at the weekend, but I think Sheffield United is the cut-off. And I'm not just saying that because it's a blade, because you see the results that Sheffield United are putting in at the moment. Yes, they've got the odd bad result in them, but predominantly are producing good performances. I'll be honest, I think Southampton are on the way down unless they do something quickly. I don't think they can make it. But anyone else up from upwards, they can 100% make them playoffs. I think the top 3 in the league, I think they've guaranteed themselves a playoff spot minimum. But I think, like I said earlier on the comment, I think anyone up to 10th can still get that last one of them automatic stops maybe. And I think down to 17th, I think there's an opportunity there for anyone in the down to that position to get into the playoffs. It's wide open, I think.
And down the bottom there, are Oxford giving themselves a mountain to climb?
Yeah, they look in trouble, don't they? There's starting to be a little bit of a gap appearing there. When you have a gap like that up the top end of the table or just outside the playoffs, that can be quickly clawed back or eroded in the instance of the team just above. When you're at the bottom, it's far more difficult to close that gap, isn't it? It takes a lot longer. I think Oxford are in trouble. I think Bloomfield's got a lot on his plate there to try and keep them up.
Yeah, me too. And then it's anyone from Portsmouth, Blackburn. Are we saying Charlton as well, or are they safe? I think it could be Portsmouth, Blackburn. I do still believe Norwich will get out of it, but they're still not. The show's not over until until they get up into that 40-point realm, is it?
Yeah, I don't think any of them below that cut-off that Gaz mentioned. I don't think any of them are particularly safe. Blackburn and Portsmouth, and not just because of their current league position, in terms of where they're playing and some of the results and performances, they're two that I think are still in some danger, certainly. I don't know,
Brom,
Gaz.
I just want to say about West Brom.
Yeah.
Look at that form table. Look at the form that they're in a minute.
And they're currently losing 2-0 to Norwich as well. And I know this is a live table, but I think Charlton down. I agree with you, Paul. I think Norwich have got the ability to get out of the trouble. You look at their results; are a bit indifferent in form at the moment, but everyone down. Charlton, worst team ever. They're losing again tonight. I think when I last checked. Yeah, I'd be worried about Charlton, West Brom, and Blackburn if I was you, because I think Portsmouth can get out of it. To be honest with you,
would West Brom be one of the biggest shocks to have come out of this to drop down into that league in recent years if they do go? Would they be?
Yeah,
I'd probably say one of the biggest we've had. Really, I don't know.
For a long time since I think Leeds and Man City were down there years ago. I'd probably say, yeah.
They've taken a big risk, haven't they, Gaz, with Eric Ramsey, someone that's not proven as a manager in this league, in the position they're in. I'm really surprised, I don't know about you, that they didn't go for someone a bit more experienced and proven at the level.
Yeah, I probably agree there. I think when in this league, everyone says it is the hardest league, one of the hardest leagues in Europe. Talk about the country and that. So I think you need somebody with experience. You need somebody in experience who knows the league.
And as we speak, Hull have gone 3 up at Preston, and Norwich is still 2 up. Swansea 2-1 up against Blackburn now. Wow!
Check that one out as well, Paul. Ollie McBurney overhead kick for the 3rd goal.
Are you having me on? Oh, well,
yeah, that's what Ian said.
Bloody typical. Of course it was. Ollie Mack overhead from Ian down there. Brilliant, mate. Right, well, I just want to thank you, lads, and obviously I want to thank everybody for joining us in the comments. Been a good show. Enjoyed it. Again, so, calling this league 3-0 Preston down at home. Gosh, you know, how do you call it in this league? You never can. But well, no, we've enjoyed it, lads, and thank you for joining us again, Gaz, and obviously Lou. We'll be back again next week, won't we, mate, to try and unpick probably two league games for this one that we've been looking at and the one at the weekend. But until then, everybody, it's all aboard the championship. Choo choo.
Choo choo.